Hello there, and thanks once again for joining us on your #1 TV show, Game Plan. Yes, we are back, and compliments of the new season. Happy New Year. And I hope that your dreams and aspirations, if they didn't work out at the start of 2024, they will definitely work out at the start of 2025. I'm Charles, CNN Mabika, and I've also got aspirations, dreams, and ambitions, which some of them didn't work out in 2024, and I hope they will work out. Right, what are we talking about? Our first show in the new year, the Zifa elections. On the 25th of January, this year, just a couple of weeks away, we will have the Zifa elections for the president, the vice president, the board members, and so on. So for the next couple of programs, we will be giving you to have an insight into that one with the candidates, especially for the Zifa presidency. Right now, there are 6 people who are left to run for that presidency, and we've got one of them here, and he is Marshall Gore. So without any further ado, let's say hello to him. Marshall, thank you so much for coming on to the nation's #1 TV show, Game Plan, and it's good of you to join us here.
Thanks for having me, CNN. Happy New Year.
Now, Happy New Year, right. Would you like to wish the millions watching and your family as well?
Definitely. Thanks for the opportunity. I want to say Happy New Year to all the football stakeholders in the nation. I wish you a prosperous 2025. And most importantly, I also want to say, Charles, it's great that you've been honored as well. You're a legend of football. I have a lot of respect and admiration for you. Thank you. It's my desire that if I become the president, I'll ensure that legends like you are also honored by football, not by the private sector alone, but are also honored by football. Well done for your dedicated and distinguished service to football.
Thank you. Well, what promised honor there. Let's see how it pans out. Right, the Zifa presidency elections, and we've got Marshall Gore. So what I want to do is get him straight into it, because his manifesto, he's actually brought it here for us. This is, he says to me that there'll be a bigger version that will be coming, but this is his manifesto, and his manifesto is titled the Marshall Plan. So, Marshall, what I'm going to do for the next 5 minutes, it's going to be you alone by the camera. For the next 5 minutes, I want to let you give your Marshall Plan to the expected 58 councillors who will be voting, 58 councillors vote, and also for the millions, the owners of the game, to be persuaded to influence those 58 councillors to vote for you. So what I'm going to do, Marshall, your time starts now.
Thank you, CNN. Greetings, fellow councillors, football key stakeholders, and the nation at large. My name is Marshall Gore, and I'm proposing the Marshall Plan. I intend to create and bring a new football ecosystem that will focus on capacity building, strengthening football administration, governance, integrity, and also focusing mainly on grassroots football development and the development of the women's game. We will also pay attention to the football infrastructure. Yes, it's good that the National Sports Stadium is being renovated. But again, after 45 years of independence, we expect a country like us, a football nation, we should have at least 4 stadiums that are compliant with FIFA and CAF. So we'll work on our program with government involved to address our infrastructure deficit. We'll look at it from grassroots level and also in the professional structures. We'll work with our regions to ensure that our Division 1, Division 2, and even area zones play in comfortable football pitches. We'll work on a program we'll budget it, we'll bring in companies with expertise to do feasibility studies of all our football infrastructure in the country, and we'll come up with a 4-year program of rehabilitating our football infrastructure. In grassroots football, we intend to set up a grassroots football development fund, a hub of money or a pot of money that the Football Association, with the money from FIFA, will chip in. And then our government will also chip in into this pot. The private sector will approach them with viable business plans to invest in grassroots football. We will talk to government and provide a business plan, a sustainable football business plan, to ensure that government invest in that pot as well. We move on to women's football. Yes, we know that we now have a newly formed Women's Premier League, but we must work hard to create football ecosystem that includes girls at primary school level, at secondary school level. We want to have more academies focusing on development on women's football. It's a big thing in the global environment of football. We will allocate appropriate resources to it. We will ensure that it's given focus. Yes, it's important to develop football, but we need money. We are going to work on a program to engage the corporates. We will go around the entire nation, we'll speak with business, we'll talk to banks, we'll speak to mobile telephone companies and encourage them to come and invest into football. We'll have sponsorship packages. We'll go around and engage even small-scale businesses. They have capacity to invest in business. Most importantly, we are coming to you with the funds. We are going to have fund engagement programs. We'll work on programs nationwide to engage the funds, to allow them to have a voice in their football. They are the custodians of our game. They will be involved also. We'll reconstitute all the fund organization into one major organization that will be funded. Now we come to you, the football players. We'll make sure that we introduce player insurances, hospital insurances, covers for players. We'll work with the clubs and support them to bring insurance companies that we have already lined up to ensure that our players' welfare is well looked after. The former players, for long, they have been neglected. We'll work and come up with programs of training football players before they retire to come in and serve. Our legends, you have long been neglected. Bruce Grobler, Peter Ndlovu, Moses Chunga, Benjani Mwariwari. You have a role to play in our football. We'll create the right environment for you to be ambassadors of our game. Wherever you are, you'll be asked to serve in our football. And most importantly, our councillors that are in the regions will work on helping you to have a role to play in the various thematic committees that we are going to set up. Everyone will have a part to play. We'll ask for people to bring their CVs. We'll ensure that everyone is included. We are going to be inclusive and tap into the skills in all the 4 regions. We will also make sure that people at area zone level, competitions are revived, viable competitions. We'll engage you, the Premier League. We are not leaving you behind. We'll work with you to support you to build up sponsorship frameworks that will ensure that our football has improved. We'll export players. We'll unpack a lot. Thank you, CNN.
Okay, I know that you would have wanted more and more time, but his time is up. I don't know if you managed to get the gist of all that. So that was a condensation of the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan. Here, one of the contestants, 6 people vying for the Zifa presidency. I don't know, so far, what do you think? Well, we know you are the owners of the game. What we're going to do right now is go for our first teeny-weeny break. When we come back, we will be continuing to talk to Marshall Gore. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Well, our top flight league will be kicking off in a couple of weeks, but for the time being, just prepare to see which team, if you want to change, I don't know why you want to change your favorite team, continue with it. And of course, we welcome 4 new teams right from the northern, southern, eastern, and central region. And also, yes, we should not forget the late former manager of Dinamo Dimbare, Richard Nyoka Chihoro, whom was laid to rest just last Sunday after a short illness. May his soul rest in peace. Right, the Zifa president, who is it going to be after the elections on the 25th of January? Like I told you, for the next couple of weeks, we'll be having those candidates. And right now, this week, we've got Marshall Gore. Now, Marshall Gore has been resident in the United Kingdom for quite some time. And Marshall, this is where your critics are plunging the knives into your chest. They are saying, you've been away from Zimbabwe, from the local game. You've been resident in the United Kingdom for quite a while. And you are out of touch now with the needs of the local game. What do you say to those critics?
Well, I think those are assertions that are misplaced. I'm a former player myself, first of all. I played for 1 Commando Bullets in Division 2. I served in grassroots football. I was the co-founder of the Goromonzi area zone, and I also served in the 90s in the Eastern region. So I'm fully vested with Zimbabwean football. It's not a crime that I left the country to go and edify myself and educate myself. I left the country after my A-levels, and I've come back with 2 degrees and 4 diplomas. So that's value added by being abroad. And don't forget also that when I was outside the country, I was able to form the Diaspora Engagement Project, which has seen the British Brigade players come to play for our national team and contribute effectively to the qualification. So I believe that my long stay in the UK was valuable. Whilst I was in the UK with Team Zimbabwe UK, we helped to resource many schools with football kits and footballs. We did capacity building. We provided, supported local football organizations with assistance, with funds. We did a lot to Zimbabwean football when I was away from home. I continued to sponsor my local leagues in where I come from in my rural area. Right now, I'm sponsoring the Rusike District Social League. And I'm not alone. There's so many diaspora guys, some who are owning football clubs. Phil Makekere, the owner of Kwekwe United Football Club, and Kwekwe Kings, diaspora-based, but owning 2 football clubs, creating employment for people. So many people in the diaspora. So we must not focus on where people are domiciled. We must focus on what people are bringing into the country. So I'm a product of progress. I've promoted the Zimbabwe flag when I was abroad. During COVID, donated thousands of money to help people under very distressing times. Worked on several government projects, investment conferences that I've hosted whilst I was a diasporan. So I believe I have contributed immensely to my country when I was in the UK. Now I'm back here at home, and I believe I have a role to play in our football.
Okay, right. I want to talk to you about, I'm sure many of you have heard about, allegations in the past Zifa elections, allegations of the khaki brown envelope, anzi, tenderera, ichibadara for my votes. I mean, listen, let's not beat about the bush. The past Zifa elections have been flooded with allegations of that. The people who vote, the councillors, some of them being bribed to vote for a candidate. Now, we're beginning to hear that already. We're beginning to hear that. Now, are you worried about that? And how much do you know? We know that the past elections, it has been rampant. What do you know?
Well, Charles, I've heard a lot of talk about that. But I want to attest that I've been to all the 4 regions, and I've had successful engagements in all the 4 regions. And no one came to me and asked for any bribe. I believe in principle, and I believe in integrity. So for me, I'm selling a strategic plan, a transformation and agenda for change that will not only transform the landscape of football, but that will also transform the lifestyles of our administrators. That's what I'm selling. So for me personally, if I'm going to lose this election, I'm happy to lose it on principle. I'll be focused on selling my agenda, the Marshall Plan, which talks about strategic development of our football across all the facets that I've outlined. I'll stick to that. I've been around and I'm focusing on that. I have a reputation for the past 25 years. I've contributed immensely. I was there in Sfax in 2004. I do not need to pay someone money to become the Zifa president. I believe my long service to my nation and my contribution of everything that I've done is a good enough ticket for me to get into the office. If I don't, I'll stick to my principles. I would rather lose with principles than rather win with no morals.
I'm going to stick to those 58 councillors who are voting. 58 councillors, remember, they vote. The owners of the game, you don't vote. The 58 councillors from around the regions. Now, their term, you know this, their term ends after these elections on the 25th of January. Will you still work with them if you are elected as president?
Definitely, I will work with them. I think under the current environment, we have to work with them. And what I've seen, Charles, when I went around the country, I've actually seen that there are a lot of talented people. But what has lagged in the past maybe is the support of funding with training for our football administrators across all the provinces and all the regions. I strongly believe that there are some viable brains there. There are some people that still have a role to play in our football. But yes, of course, I'm not unilateral. We'll have to sit down with the board and work on where we are going to go. But for me, I'm not looking at personalities or painting everyone with the same brush. I believe we now need to have a renewed mindset. The blame culture has been too much. For now, we must focus on priorities and focus on rebuilding, renewing ourselves, and have unit of purpose and put the blame culture aside and refocus everyone. So I actually think we are in the right direction as a nation, and this is a great opportunity for us to transform our football. But we must be united and we must be strategic.
Mm-hmm. You did talk about, when we were talking about the Marshall Plan, you were talking about a whole lot of things. You couldn't finish it, of course, because of the time that I'd given you 5 minutes.
Yes, indeed.
Now, initially, you look like, you sound like you want to hit the ground running. But all these things that you've talked about are going to cost a lot of money. And we know that FIFA only grant a million, just over $1 million or whatever. I don't know if Gianluigi Infantino now is going to increase that grant or whatever. I just want you to think, because we're going to take another teeny-weeny break, but I just want to find out from you, where is all the initial capital going to come from? I want you to answer that one when we come back. Right, exactly, that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave him to think about all this thing that he's talked about. Where is all that money going to come from initially? We'll be right back. Right, the 6 candidates are vying for the Zifa presidency so far. Marshall Gore, whom we have on the show this week. There's also Nobile Magwizi, then Twine Piri, Martin Kweza, Philemon Machana, and former footballer, the original Quinji 15, Makwinji Soma Piri. So who would you like to have as the new Zifa president? Well, would you like to influence some of the 58 councillors? We'll see what you can do there. But 58 councillors will be voting on the 25th of January. Right. Okay. When we went away for the teeny-weeny break, I had put a question to Marshall Gore. He talked about those aspects in his Marshall Plan. And I asked him, where will the initial capital come from? Because it looks like quite a lot.
CNN, thanks for asking that question. I think I'm privileged in my working career to have worked in the public sector. I worked in the National Health Service as a senior commissioner dealing with budgets and finances. I've also worked in Team Zimbabwe UK in the voluntary sector, where you start everything from scratch with no budget. But we have been successful in our affairs. And most importantly, I also have experience. I'm also a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. So I know how to start up. So I'm not fazed by the challenge. We go back to revenue. There are so many ways we can create revenue. We will come up with various activities to ensure that we create revenue from licensing and revenue from merchandise. Currently, there's no shop in town, in Harare or in Bulawayo, that is selling merchandise for the Warriors. And the Warriors are much loved. They have millions of fans who relish to wear their jerseys. We have World Cup qualifiers coming soon. In March, we'll be playing against Benin, I think, in Nigeria.
Yes.
So these are great opportunities for me. I've already started to put things in place. We will roll out merchandise and ensure that we start to get revenue. And most importantly also, we will work on improving our financial controls. When you improve your financial controls, then you improve donor confidence. I think the government lack of not wanting to invest in football is that they were not satisfied with accountability. So I'm going to make sure that from the word go, there's accountability. And in my first 2 weeks into office, I will visit the head of Treasury, George Guamatanga, and Mutuli Ngwe, Minister of Economic Finance, to sit down with them with already a pre-prepared football business plan that I'm going to sell to government to put money, and then there's a dividend to get from the youth and from the girl child that we're investing in. So that is my plan. And most importantly also, we are going to work on creating sponsorship packages at all tiers. We are not going to exclude anyone. When you look on our match day press banner, there will be hundreds of companies there. We will sell every space in the stadium. And I'm not saying this because I'm new. In the UK, I was running the African Nations Cup UK, the biggest community football tournament, with a budget of close to almost 100K every year. We got sponsors every day, covered all our commitments. I have experience to speak with the private sector because I've worked in the private sector before. I've experience to engage the funds as well.
I'll have to butt in there, Marshall, because yes, we need to get more questions coming through, but I say that you seem to have all this itemized. Now, if you didn't know, Marshall Gore is a staunch Chelsea supporter. Chele. Right, the EPL season, the English season, you will be aware that it starts in August and runs until May. Now, our season starts in February until December. Some years back, we tried to switch that to that season. It didn't work out. Have you thought about that? About how would you, champion to change the season so that it conforms to the international standards like the English season?
Well, I think I'm a Pan-African myself, and I think we should center our programs around the CAF program. Yes, we respect European football. We want to export more players into Europe, but I think fundamentally, as a continent, we should work strategically on the seasoning of our plans that suits us and our CAF Champions League commitments. So I think we should advocate for a more continental approach on that before we can align globally. So I'll be working maybe closely with CAF to ensure that our seasons align, to ensure that the CAF competitions are well supported and our national teams are also supported with competitions like CHAN. So that will be my first focus. And then once we achieve that, maybe at the continental level, then we can look at assimilating with the rest of the world.
And Marshall, if the unthinkable happens for you and your family, of course, if you lose these Zifa presidential elections to somebody else, will you be still around to help whoever would have won those elections, or you'll just say you walk away from it?
Well, Charles, that's a very good question. And first of all,
that's why we have this show.
Yeah, first of all, I'm a Warriors fan, and I'm not going to neglect football because I've lost elections. For the last 25 years, I've been fully engaged with local football. In 2016, when Capes United won the league, I was involved in consulting for the club to support them. You know, right now I talk to a lot more clubs, share ideas. So my DNA is here at home. The UK was my host country. Zimbabwe is my home country. So I'll continue here. I'm the patron of the Rusike Soccer League, like I've mentioned. We want to extend it maybe to other regions. I also co-own Power 11 Football Academy, which is one of the best football academies in the country. So there's a lot of work for me to do if I'm not successful in the elections. But I don't think I won't be successful in the election. I think this is my time. I'm ready for this. I've prepared myself for 25 years. I'm not new into football. I've been around, and this is my time.
Okay. Right. So you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Marshall Gore was our guest on this week's show as we focus on the Zifa elections, especially the presidential elections at Zifa. Right. So do stay tuned in to find out who we will have next week. It just leaves me to thank Marshall Gore for affording us his time here to share us his vision of the Marshall Plan. Thank you so much, and we wish you very well in the Zifa elections.
CNN, thanks for hosting me, and thanks to all the football lovers that are watching this program. The time is near. 25th of January, the new revolution will start, the new era for Zimbabwean football. We will usher Zimbabwean football in unprecedented levels of progress.
That's
God
right.
willing.
Okay, so that's just about it. As always, you are number one. You make this show what it is. All the best for 2025. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing here on ZBC TV. From everybody at ZBC TV, fronted by our sports producers, Bevan Shenurai, Stuart Shuriwa, and Tinashe Manyoni. We say, remember to take care of your loved ones and each other. I'm Charles, CNN Mabika. Until we meet again, it's bye-bye for now.